Everything has cause-effect relationships, and you can program all of that. We're machines. Human brain's a machine, and we operate that way. One sentence that I try to describe Bridgewater by, and it's meaningful work and meaningful relationships. This is what I want: meaningful work and meaningful relationships through radical truth and radical transparency. So meaningful work means like we're in a mission together, we're excited about what we do, we want to do it excellently, that's meaningful work. Meaningful relationships are these relationships in where there's, like the honesty helps you. You can argue things through, but you always know that there's honesty and that there's mutual caring for each other. Radical truth means that knowing what is true, to be able to deal with reality, whether you like the reality or not, but to know what reality is. Like, imagine if you had a disease, would you want to know that you had that disease, or would you not want to know? I'd want to know. And so to know, if you have a weakness, do you want to know you have the weakness, or do you not want to know? Radical truth and radical transparency means you get to see everything. That's very powerful.
Failure is a part of the learning process, right? What's the risk of failure? What, you'll be embarrassed, or risk of failure? How do you distinguish failure from learning? In your whole life, failure implies that it stopped, that the game stops, right? If it's part of you're failing and then you learn, then that learning is part of the moving forward, right? So that is what the process is like. Fail, learn, move forward, and constantly do that because you're cutting edge. You're going where people haven't been before in inventiveness.
So pervasively, we were talking about culture. It is when people disagree, and you can take thoughtful people disagree, you have then the potential of learning a lot. If people who are disagreeing can say, why do we disagree? And work through that conversation in an intelligent way to try to find out what's true, you can learn, you can make progress. It can be a fabulous thing.
I believe that everything works like a machine. So when we talk about markets, when we talk about economics, you know how I think it's just a machine. Everything has cause-effect relationships, and you can program all of that. We're machines. Human brain's a machine, and we operate that way. And in today's age, we have data. We have a lot of data. And so to be able to look at what people are like is a powerful thing. When I hear the interview about General Motors, and you think about one company or another, you think of Tesla, by contrast. Okay, look, there are two things that make a difference. It's either people or culture, okay? And that's everything. And so everybody's talking about this was done or that was done. Step back. What were your people like? How are they different? What is your culture like, and how's that different? And that's all that matters. And so if you look at it that way and you compare what the future of General Motors is going to be and the future of Tesla is going to be, or any such things, that's all that makes up the difference. And you can put data together that shows that, and you can operate in that way, and that's what makes you effective. What happens with meditation, as you know, is it's just a simple exercise that allows you first to clear your head and then brings an equanimity to everything. It eliminates the stress. I've been doing it for 44 years, but I do it, twice a day, probably a third of the time. Oh, it's such a great investment. I would say that more than any other factor having any effect on my success, it's been meditation. Because the equanimity and also the creativity, because it opens between literally the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, it opens the two sides of the brains and allows a spontaneity, a creativity, an open-mindedness. And so it's good for not only the health, because you get stress is a terrible thing, but it also is very good in terms of the clarity, and you don't get the emotional hijacking, and it's great for creativity. So it's helped me a lot. It's the biggest gift I can give anyone.